Hello, it's Mr. Sarisa, and this time we're going to do an analysis of an ellipse not centered at the origin. So this is where we use the h and the k, if you remember using that with circles and with the parabola. We're going to have an x minus h squared, and that'll be over some a squared plus y minus k squared, and that will be over b squared. Again, always equaling to 1, so make sure that's true there. And then for the same rules where if the a squared is bigger than the b squared, it'll have a major axis on the x-axis, and if the other one is bigger, then it'll be major axis of the y. And so I always just look for the biggest denominator and go from there, so that will help out. Everything else moves along the same, so again, find your major axis first, and then find the center, and so the center will be HK. Find the vertices. So again, you're moving from the center. So if the x-axis is the major axis, then you're going to do A plus H K. Or if your major axis is the y-axis, then it'll be A, and then oops, sorry. Yeah, it'll be H and then A plus K. So it all depends on which direction it's facing. So I'm going to give you an example. This time I'm going to make it so that the major axis is the y-axis, and maybe they'll clear things up for you. So just continuing, if it is, then I'm going to find the x-intercept, and then the foci. The foci will be very similar to here. It will be the c plus h k, or like the one we're going to do is h and then c plus k. And so those are all the ones plus the graph. That's everything you need for the analysis. Okay, so let's try a real problem that you might see in a book. And so I'll give you x minus 2 squared all over 16 plus y plus 4 squared all over 25. So the first thing that I would see is that the major axis is going to be the y-axis, because the 25 is bigger than the 16, and it's just that easy. Alright, and then the next thing would be is to find the center, and you've done this a bunch of times. So 2, negative 4, because we're subtracting 2 here and we're subtracting negative 4 here, so the center is 2, negative 4, and then I would find the vertex. Okay, so to find the vertex I need to find out what A is going to be, and A equals 5 because the bigger number is 25. So we always go with the bigger number. And seeing that it's the y-axis, we're going to be moving along the y. So that 2 stays the same, but now it's negative 4 plus 5. So that's just 1. And then it's going to be still 2. This time it's negative 4 minus 5, because we go in the other direction. Oops. And so, so negative 4 minus 5, and that's negative 9. So there's our vertices. The x-intercept this time is going to be moving with the b, so now we have 16, so b will be 4. And I'll be moving away from the 2 because it's the x-intercept. And so this will be 2 plus 4, which is 6. And we keep the center's y value, negative 4. And then we do 2 minus 4, which is negative 2. And then we keep that negative 4. So that all stays the same. And then finally the foci. And the foci, we need to use the c. So that would be the square root of the 25 minus 16. So square root of 9, which which of course is 3. And so the foci is going to be 2, because we're not changing that part, we're moving along the y-axis, or parallel to the y-axis. And so it's going to be our center, -4 plus 3, which is -1. And the other focus is going to be -4 minus 3. So that's -7. Alright, and so we have all the pieces to the puzzle there. And so I'm just showing it a little differently than how I did it before. This time I just got all the numbers, all the facts, if you will. And then I'll finish the graph and plot everything. So some people find this easier than doing it as you go. Alright, so I have the center at 2, -4. And again, that's where everything moves out from. And then our vertices are at 2, 1. And then 2, -9. And then our x-intercepts, so they're really not x-intercepts, but they're going along that -4. So back to -2, -4, and then, oops, fit one in there, 5, 6, and then 6, -4. And then the foci will be at 2, -1, and 2, -7. And then I'm going to draw that in. Not super well, but if I keep going around, it works out okay. So there you go. That's the analysis of an ellipse that's not centered at the origin. Thank you. I hope that this helped.